Hello, it's Karen here from Stampin' with Karen Spreckley. Thank you for joining me for another video today. Today I'm going to be making a lovely little card using the Abstract Impression stamp set. This is a really lovely stamp set. I think it came out in last year's annual catalogue, excuse me. I've had a bit of a cold and I've got a bit of a sore throat. And it's got so many lovely little images that you can layer up. And it's one of those that you can use pretty much with any colour and you'll make a really lovely card with it. It's a photopolymer stamp set. There are 21 stamps in there, and there are also some lovely sentiments as well. So it's a really versatile stamp set. I'm going to be using a nice bright colour palette today. I've picked 4 colours from the Brights collection. I've picked Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, Mango Melody and Flirty Flamingo because I think they'll all go really nicely together. So let's get on with making the card. So I've got one of our Whisper White envelopes. I'll put that to one side for now. I've got a quarter sheet of Whisper White that's been trimmed down just a little bit to make an insert for our card. And our card base is Bermuda Bay, half a sheet of A4 cut in half and scored in half. This piece of Whisper White is half a centimetre shorter and narrower, or quarter of an inch shorter and narrower, whichever you prefer. So that will be the inside of our card. For a layer on the front of our card, I'm using a piece of the Brights Designer Series paper. These papers are available in all of our colour collections. They come in really handy sizes. They're 6x6 sizes, so perfect for card front usage and perfect for making little treats and things. You get 40 sheets in the pack, and you get 4 sheets in each of the 10 colours in each of the colour families. So really handy thing to have. I've almost obliterated my pack. I think I'm going to have to buy myself some more because I've been using it so much. So I've cut that half a centimetre shorter and narrower, or quarter of an inch shorter and narrower. And next I've got myself another mat of Bermuda Bay and also a layer of Whisper White that I'm going to use for stamping. Now the mat of Bermuda Bay, I've written the measurements on the back, is 3 inches by 4 3/4 inches, or 7.4 times 11 by 11.9 centimetres. These measurements are actually going to be over on my blog post. So if you click in the description bar below, you'll be able to go out, this will link to the blog post and you'll be able to see all the measurements there. You'll also be able to find links there directly to my online shop for all of the products that I've used for this card. And then also this is my stamping mat of Whisper White, and this is 2 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches, or 7 by 11.4 centimetres. So I'll just pop those layers to one side for now so we can get on and do some stamping. So I'm going to open up my ink pads and lay those out so they're all ready to go. And then I will get going with my stamping. Now I want to make a thank you card today. I have to make lots of lovely thank you cards for various different reasons, so it's always good to have a few on hand. Now I want to line this up nice and straight. I hope my head's not getting in the way. So I'm lining my sentiment up along my grid paper, and then I'm lining my block up also along my grid paper. So I now know I've got a nice straight sentiment on my block. Now I'm going to do my sentiment in Bermuda Bay. So I'm just going to tap on my Bermuda Bay, and oh, just one more little tap. Looked as if the top of the T wasn't quite inked. And I'm going to put my sentiment at the bottom there. There we go, that's lovely. I've got my stamping scrub over to the side, so I'll clean my stamps as I go. The next thing I want to do is I want to stamp some of these bigger flowers. So I'm just going to get the stamps out that I need. We've got the more solid image of the bigger flower. I want to use that one. And I also want to use the next layer down. I'm not going to use the super skinny layer this time. Now what I want to do is I'm going to use Coastal Cabana, but I'm not sure if I want full strength or stamped off, so I'm just going to have a little practice on the side here. I think I'm going to go for stamped off. So I'm going to put one, I think I'll go for one up there in the corner. Stamp off again. I'll go one a little further down and stamp off for the third time, and I think we'll have a final one just down there. So I'll clean my stamp and pop that away because I'll need the block again in a moment. So now I've got the next layer that will go over that stamp, and this time I think I'm going to stamp it. Am I going to stamp it in Bermuda Bay? Let's have a little look and see how that looks on top. Oh yeah, that's really quite strong, isn't it? Don't know if I want to go quite that strong, so I think I'll go full strength Coastal Cabana. Now, there probably is an absolute perfect way to line these up, but you know, I really don't think it matters. So I'm just going to stamp and go straight down. They're kind of abstract impressions. They're supposed to be abstract and not supposed to be perfect like Mother Nature, so I think we'll be okay with that. Okay, so I'm going to pop those ink pads away now because I finished with those ones. And next I'm going to go in with some Flirty Flamingo. And this time I want to use this big stamp here, which I think looks a little bit like kind of leopard print. Right, let's see how bright our Flirty Flamingo is. Oh, that's quite lovely actually. I think I will go straight in there. So I'm just going to fill in some of these gaps with some Flirty Flamingo. We'll go right there, and we'll perhaps have a little bit there as well. See that I'm working in threes. Nature tends to work in odd numbers, and so odd numbers actually tend to work quite nicely for our eyes. We like to see odd numbers, it seems to work for us. And now I'm going to take this little flower here. I'm going to take the, do I want the slightly more solid one? Do you know, I can't decide. Let's have a little look. There's the slightly more solid one, and here is the slightly more open one. Do you know, I think I'll go for the slightly more open one on this occasion. So I'm going to do Mango Melody for that. So I'm going to pop one there, and I'm going to pop one there, and we'll just have another tiny little bit of Mango Melody down here. There we go. Oh, I think that's really, really pretty. Pleased with how that's worked out. So I'm going to close up my ink pads now, because I've finished with those for the moment. I'll just pop those to one side. So now we're going to put our card together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to layer my stamped panel onto my Bermuda Bay mat. So I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow adhesive. I like to use the wet adhesive when I'm making cards in the main, because it allows me a bit of wiggle room so that I can eyeball things and check that I'm getting them nice and straight. So now I'm just going to turn that over and rub it. There we go. So I've now got a lovely layer, and I'm going to also stick my layer of Designer Series paper to my card front. Come on, glue, don't give up on me now. Yay. Treated myself, opened a new bottle. All that messing around with my last video, trying to get the little scraps of glue out. So there we go. I'm going to line that up, get that insert out. It was confusing me a little bit. I don't really know what this script says, but it definitely does have a right way and a wrong way, but that's quite obvious when you see it up front. I'm going to, oh, I haven't just stamped anything on my insert. You know, I'll risk it, and I'll do it once I've put it inside the card. So let's pop that in there. Lovely. And so what shall we stamp? I'll tell you what, because I've got those the little flower out. Let's have a couple of those stamped in the corner, and then perhaps we could pop some of those on our envelope too. So if we pop the envelope under the grid paper and put it on there, it stops us stamping all over the rest of the envelope. So let's just pretty up our envelope flap by adding a few of these. Lovely. And then we'll perhaps pop just one in the corner, so then whoever receives this card in the post will know they're getting something special. So there we go, there's our envelope. So now what I want to do is add a little bit of white baker's twine around here to give it a little bit of interest. So the white baker's twine is also available in the catalogue. So I'm going to start at the front, I think. Start at the front with a bit hanging down because I'm going to want to tie a bow. And then I'm going to wrap round 1, 2, 3 times. Hold that in place and snip off a length. Then what I'm going to do is ensure that I'm sort of tying all these pieces together. So if I poke my loose end under there and then, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, right, let's just tie it in a knot and see where we are. So I think I'm sort of sitting on the surface of all the twine, so I've wrapped a piece underneath because I want to sort of put this in a fixed place. It makes it a little bit easier to tie the bow. Okay, so I've now tied underneath and I can spread out my twine pieces. Just spread those out a little bit. This is just to add another little bit of interest to your card. And then we'll tie ourselves a little bow. There we go. And we can, if we hold the knot and pull the tails, we can adjust the size of those loops to where we want them, and then we can just trim off a little bit of excess there. Oh, that's really cute. I really like that. And then I'm going to pop that up on my card with some dimensionals. So I'm going to put one in each corner and one in the middle, and I think I may add a little bit of tear and tape just across those strings to ensure they stay nicely in place, but I won't take the backing off. So I'm just going to take the backing off of my dimensionals, then I can add that to my card front, and then we're all done for today. So big challenge now, let's try and get this straight without putting my head over the camera. It does help having the script, actually, that helps me line it up a little bit. So there we go. So there's today's card. Thank you very much for watching with me, and I'll see you again next Monday. Have a good week, everyone. Bye bye.